Hello and welcome back to the High School Sports Beat. I'm Dave Yates. It is time now for the High School Notebook, brought to you by Dunkin. America runs on Dunkin. And as always, we are joined by Paul Gotham from PickinSplinters.com. Paul, great time of year to be a basketball fan. What's on the site right now?
You mentioned it, a great time. We got all the sectional previews for everybody. Class AA all the way down to D2. You're going to get all the teams, their seedings, and who they're going to be playing. We'll carry you all the way through the postseason with semifinal, final previews, take you into the regionals, and hopefully we'll have several previews for the state tournament ready for everybody. So plenty to get on Pickin Splinters.
Now, Paul, talk about a team that is on a roll as they head into the postseason. That would be the Bishop Kearney girls.
I think roll is an understatement. When you win through 2-3 games in a week, it's usually a good week. Instead, they win 5 games in 6 days. This was because of rescheduling. They had 2 games. They had a game they were supposed to play in a New York City tournament, and they couldn't travel to it, so a showcase in New York City, so they lost that game. Janesville DeWitt decided to come to Bishop Kearney and make that game up with them. But we had that weather that came through a couple weeks ago with all the cold air, and there were games that were canceled. So they were originally going to play games on Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, which is already a full week, right? The only time that they could put in this makeup with the Mercy game was in the middle of that Wednesday. So they played Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then had Friday off and then played Saturday, Sunday. And the crazy thing is they start the week off beating Penfield. Handing Penfield, it's their first loss of the season. Penfield comes into the game ranked number 9 in the state. Then they beat Mercy, a rival, in between. Then they go and beat Amherst, who's ranked number 7 Class A in the state. Get a day off. Then they beat Sacred Heart, an out-of-town team, and then Janesville DeWitt. They rounded out. Janesville DeWitt's number 2 Class A. Great stuff from Kevin Shepard and his team. If any team is ready for sectionals, it would appear to be them.
If they have their legs left. That's a lot of basketball to play.
Well, and it's interesting that you mentioned legs because they started off that week against Penfield. And as we know, we did that feature on Penfield a couple weeks ago. That's a team that likes to get up and down the floor. Mark Vogt said right out in the front there, we don't like to play half-court offense. We want to get you out. We want to get you running. And quite honestly, they got beat at their own game. And I don't think that's any shame there. But when you look at that Kearney team, Marianna Freeman and Kaya Good, those 2 kids move the ball up and down the court, and there doesn't seem to be any end to their energy. And in that Penfield game, everybody talks about Marianna Freeman. They talk about Toya Baker. They talk about Saniaa Wilson. Those are the leading scorers for Kearney. That night it was Kaya Good and Taylor Norris who did the bulk of the scoring for the Kearney team, and that doesn't bode well for opposing teams when you're going into the sectionals and now they've got 5 kids who can score in double figures on a pretty regular basis. Toya Baker spent most of the 4th quarter with a cramp in her calf. She spent most of it on the bench, and they still managed to do it. This is a team that they only have, because of injuries, they really only have 7 kids that they can use. Again, 5 games in 6 days, that's pretty impressive.
That's amazing. And I was just going to say we were on the same page because as soon as you said that, now all of a sudden you've got other players that can pick up the slack. How are you going to stop them? It's like pick your poison pretty much, right?
Well, and certainly Saniaa Wilson draws so much attention. And you have to, you can't leave her open on the block. You have to have someone on her, and you got to look to double team or double down on the post, whatever you're going to do. And then Taylor Norris is on the opposite side, and she's picking apart defenses. So, I mean, if they get that clicking, they'll be fine come March.
All right, sounds great, Paul. Good to great stuff as always. We are back with more of the High School Sports Beat right after this.